Hey everybody, Jim Chester here, Chiro Hustle Podcast. This is a live stream from Mile High Chiropractic Weekend. This is the 6th year, Cathy, and I know we've spent a lot of time here discussing about what's going on down in New Mexico and your battleground state. But I just want to say welcome to the interview, and I look forward to seeing everything that you can share with our audience today. But tell me a little bit about your experience and where we are right now with the future of chiropractic in New Mexico.
Starting in around 2011, a bill was introduced in the New Mexico legislature by a number of chiropractors asking for full prescriptive drug rights. We have fought those bills now every other year to this point, so 2011, 2013, 2015, 2017, and we hear there will be another bill coming in January of 2019. So this has been a battleground for 7 years, and it will probably continue on. They're not willing to give up, and we're not willing to give in.
So how did this become such an issue, and how can we help correct it?
Honestly, the more that I've worked with this, the more that I've realized that the scope expansion advocates sat down years ago, maybe in the 90s, and decided this was something they wanted to go for. So they, started quietly putting their folks in positions of leadership, state board members, getting into ACA, different organizations, and this is something that they have worked toward for a long time. Meanwhile, principal chiropractors have been in their offices taking care of their patients and fairly unaware. ICA started keeping an eye on it back in 2008, and I was contacted by an ICA leader in 2011 asking me what I thought of the bill that had been introduced. I didn't know what he was talking about. So I got a hold of the bill, I read it, I thought I was going to faint, and called up the ICA rep and said, how do we fight this? And starting from there, the very first year, ICA stepped up and they really helped us in fighting that bill. Steve Welsh has been my mentor in a lot of ways, taught me how to read a bill, taught me the difference between a statute and rules and regs and that sort of thing. And from there, it's just every time we fight a bill, we reach out and ask for more help. The last bill that we dealt with, we had the help of ICA, IFCO, Foundation for Verbal Subluxation, all of the principaled colleges. The presidents sent letters and policy statements, and I've reached out to other organizations. My first Mile High was last year, and reached out to a lot of the leadership here. And so, the bills, if we're going to deal with this, we have to deal with it as a profession. New Mexico and the New Mexico chiropractors cannot do it by themselves. But for whatever reason, the scope expansion advocates have chosen New Mexico and Colorado as their battleground states for the most part. And so we got chosen whether we wanted to or not. And it's just a matter of, it was kind of presented. It was like, I can't sit back and let this happen. And here I am today, still working at it.
And that's 7 years later.
7 years later.
So what does it look like if we don't step up and support New Mexico?
If we don't have the support that we need to stop this next bill, based on the last bill that we saw, they will gain basically full prescriptive drug rights, and they're going to have to get educated somewhere. We know that Western and National have backed them on this, but basically it's just going to be, we're the front domino, boom, boom, boom. It's going to run through the other states, and it will forever change the face of our profession. And I think it would literally kill principled chiropractic. You cannot You cannot send a student to a chiropractic college, have them have to learn how to prescribe drugs, and then expect them to come out and adjust the spine. They're already spending so much time on, diagnosing and, the types of things they're required to teach for CCE, that they have less time to teach technique, analyzing, adjusting, and to put prescriptive drugs into that. What are you going to do, add 3 more years of school? Nobody would be able to afford to go to school.
So I guess I'm just going to ask a question that you might not have been prepared for, but I think you'll be able to handle it quite well. Why don't they just send these people to MD programs? And why do they have to come in and try to change the platform of chiropractic based on what a few people think is best suited for the chiropractic profession?
You can get 10 answers from 10 of those folks. I have tried to figure this out for years. There actually was a program set up to where they could go through 18 months of clinical rotations with the nurse practitioners, get a nurse practitioner's license so they could hang up their shingle chiropractor and nurse practitioner, and they could do all the drugs and injections and whatever they wanted to. And they could have all done that by now and have not done it. We've had 5 that have done it. The rest of them insist that they want to put it into our profession. And I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it. If what they're saying is that they need more tools in their toolbox, then go get them under a different banner where they're regulated under that banner. That's, to me, the biggest thing, okay? That's what I have finally taken away from it, is they don't want to be regulated under the banner of the MDs or the nurses, the medical profession per se. And one of the main reasons is because they want to do injections that are not recognized by the medical doctors or the nurse practitioners. They want to do, things that are not as standard of care for, the medical doctors or the nurse practitioners. And they still are pretty much pro-choice when it comes to vaccines. So they want to be able to write exemptions for vaccinations. They know they can't get away with that if they're under the banner of the medical profession or the nursing profession. So they're hoping to get it into our profession, be regulated by our boards, and it'll be, anything goes.
So my message to everybody out there is keep it out of chiropractic. If you guys want to go out there and manipulate anything, do it under a different headline, do it under a different degree, but don't come into chiropractic and change chiropractic for your own selfish purposes. And I like to say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because that's what we're doing, and we're selling the profession out. If we bring this into New Mexico, and then, like you said, it's a house of cards and it all falls. And it's just like the domino theory. Once New Mexico goes, the next state goes, the next state goes, the next state goes. And before you know it, we have this effect that changes the future of what chiropractic looks like for us. And we're not going to just check and adjust and correct vertebral subluxations anymore. It's a bigger game than that. And we have to keep chiropractic pure and unsullied.
And that's what drives me, is that I'm looking to the future, okay? One of the frustrations I have is that most of the chiropractors that I talk to go, well, it's not worth the fight, and it's not going to affect how I practice. Well, that's true for maybe the next 10 years, 20 years, but it's just like back in the 70s when they wanted to do physiotherapy. It was, we'll do it postgraduate, people who don't want to do it won't have to do it. Well, it is now in Part 4 of the NBCE, okay? And almost every state requires that you pass all parts of the national boards to be able to be licensed. Well, what do you think is going to happen? We're going to have Part 5. And it's not going to be a choice. It may be at first, but if you look at podiatry, optometry, any of the other professions that have, put drugs into their curriculum, it has had to go into their core curriculum, not their post-grad, and it becomes part of their normal, profession. And that, in my opinion, is what would happen to chiropractic. I don't want my great-grandchildren, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, to have to go to a chiropractic college, learn how to prescribe drugs to come out and be able to adjust a spine. That's unacceptable to me. And that's what drives me in this fight. It's not a personal thing between me and them, but it's about the future of my profession. And I've heard some chiropractors go, well, let's just give it to them. We'll start a whole nother profession. We'll call it something different. No, I'm not giving them BJ and DD and our history and our name. No, they can go find a different profession, a different name, a different history. And I'm doing that not for me, because I'll be retired by the time some of this would come down the pike. But I'm doing it for my children's children, and I'm doing it for the patients that will be seeing my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. So.
And if you guys learned anything from the interview here with Dr. Cathy, she's been practicing for 45 years, second-generation chiropractor, right?
Yes.
And what we're doing is we're supporting the future of chiropractic together, to where there's free speech alive and well, and where somebody out there that has some type of regulatory system that thinks that they can manipulate the future of chiropractic, they get stopped in their tracks. So if they want to help support you and they want to help support pushing this bill away and keeping this out of New Mexico, how can they do that?
Well, we've started a new association. The association that's been there for years is pretty well controlled by the scope expansion advocates. And so we've decided it's time, after 7 years of doing it as kind of a loose coalition, to actually form a new association. It's called the Alliance of New Mexico Chiropractors. You can go online to our website, www.alliancenmchiropractors.org. And you can make donations there. We're trying to raise money for our PAC to help fight the bill in January. You can give us your email so that when we are fighting a bill, we can send out an email blast to you and ask you to, send emails, write letters, make phone calls for us. At times in the past when we've been fighting a bill, we've had so many people calling in and emailing that we've crashed the system up at the Capitol, and that gets their attention. They realize that it's important to our colleagues what happens to our profession.
So with that being said, I just want to tell everybody out there that's going to watch this on replay and they're watching this live, vote with your dollars and take your credit card out, call in, go to the website. It's in the comments, or it's in the tag above. Go up there to alliancenmchiropractors.org and vote with your dollars and keep drugs out of chiropractic. And this is where it comes to a stand. If you guys don't stand for this, then you guys will fall with the other stuff that they decide that they're going to loop into the chiropractic profession, and they're going to take your history and they're not going to care about it. And they don't care about your green books. They don't care about your philosophy. They don't care about your science. They don't care about your art. They don't care about the adjustment. What they want to do is discredit chiropractic in order to run their own agenda, which takes chiropractic out of the health arena. And you guys stand alone. I mean, it's a standalone profession, and that's why I've come to support chiropractic the way I have, because there's nothing I believe in 100% more than I believe in the future of chiropractic. And that's why we're relentless with sharing this message and making friendships and partnerships in the future with people like you that stand for something greater than themselves.
Well, and I so appreciate you allowing me this venue, because I've been trying to get out the word to the profession in any which way we can, any organization we can. One of the myths that I really would like to dispel is the fact that I get a lot of comments from chiropractors that, well, hey, the medical doctors won't like this and they've got plenty of money. They'll go out and kill these bills for us. That's not true, at least in New Mexico. In New Mexico, we've had a good working relationship with the medical society. We work at this together. And the executive director of the medical society will tell you, if it's just, the chiropractors and the medical doctors, the legislators look at it as, well, it's a turf war between two professions, and the medical doctors are just bullying the chiropractors. But when the chiropractors go in and say, no, we don't want this in our profession, this is not a part of chiropractic, we absolutely, adamantly do not want drugs in our profession, then the legislators sit back and go, oh, wait a minute. This is a turf war within the profession itself. And we have been told directly by some of them, don't come back again until you're united on this front. But the other group continues to go back anyway. So that puts us in a position where we have to go then and stand in the gap. And so please don't sit back and think that the medical profession is going to do this for us. This is our fight. This is our profession that we need to protect and say what our profession should be. So, that's the one thing, the one myth I want really dispelled.
And if you guys believe in the future of chiropractic and you don't want your state to get taken over with bad law and bad system and bad politics, stand up, go vote with your dollars. It is alliancenmchiropractors.org, and get your credit card out. Go out there and support the future of chiropractic, because if we don't, then there is a problem and the future does not look bright. But thank you, Cathy, for sharing your information today. I know it's going to benefit so many people out there. And I just want to say a warm welcome out there to the Mile High crew, Danny, Rochelle, their team, for putting on such a dynamic event and bringing people like us under the same roof to where we can start sharing the message of what needs to be heard. And if we don't do it, no one else is going to do it, Cathy.
Right. And one of the things I really enjoy about Mile High is that you see a group of people that all love and appreciate each other. There's ICA members, there's IFCO members. This is where everybody comes and puts it together. And I really enjoy coming up to Mile High. This is only my second time. And I wish that I'd been doing it for 6 years.
And I've been here 6 years, so I've seen this thing grow. I've started from the bottom, and now we're here. And, I think that there's nothing greater than building friendships like the one I have with you now, and I can see this through with you. If there's anything that we can do as a journalistic front to help what you're doing, I'll have you on to a live side-by-side interview. We'll do it again.
Okay.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again until we win, okay?
Sounds good.
Just give me a big hug.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to close out by telling you guys, you're just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks, Cathy.
Thanks.